Hello, Laziali all over the world. Welcome to a special, an extra episode of Lazio Lounge. Plenty of things to talk about. We're going to talk about Lazio Genoa, the friendly match, transfer market, obviously. Vecino is close. John is leaving. Maybe Provedelli is coming as well. And we're going to talk about NFT. Alasdair McKenzie is going to tell you everything about NFTs and the Lazio fan token. So welcome to our podcast. Alasdair, shall we start from NFT? I know you're all over it.
Hey, last week, the last episode, I was the one who brought them up, all right? So I can ask the questions and you can answer the questions. But
well, can I say
another thing for me to get confused about?
Can I say that it's really funny, the fact that Lazio is so innovative in this way and nobody's talking about it? Because if they announce what they're really doing, well, with the Lazio fan token, you will get discounts for Europe League tickets and Lazio merchandising on the official store. So, that's finally something that will help the fans if they buy the Lazio fan token. So I think it's very innovative and not surprised nobody's talking about that. Well, now they're talking about the digital beats that didn't pay Inter. So they are busy with something else.
Okay, can that be the end of our NFT section?
Yeah, well, we have already a question about the Genoa game. What a disaster.
Yeah. And we've lost Vittorio. Okay, I'm not sure if anyone can still hear me or not, because I don't know if I'm actually still...
I'm back. I don't know what's happening here with it. With the internet connection.
Okay, we've got you again, at least.
Okay, I was talking about the Genoa, but I think nobody heard me. So, Alasdair, what's your take on Genoa? Lazio Genoa.
I see a comment from GM saying the Genoa game was such a disaster that it killed your internet connection. Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the questions we had on Twitter about this from Diane Putra was about the new defence, saying, hopefully I'm wrong, but I can't see any improvements compared to last season. I think it's obviously too soon to make that kind of judgment, but certainly that has to be the biggest concern to come from this game. I mean, I watched the extended highlights rather than the full match, but even in that time, it's crazy that 4 goals, it could have been worse than 4 goals. Against a Serie B team, let's not forget, they've been relegated. They made Koda look like Robert Lewandowski. Unbelievable amounts of space being left to the Genoa attack. Like the first goal, there were 4 defenders surrounding Koda when he shot, and it somehow got through all of them. A lot of bad individual errors going on. So, yeah, I mean, it is a huge concern, Vittorio. And we mentioned last week the fact that Maximiano's not been tested yet in these games, but now I think we have to say, well, actually, the whole defence hasn't been tested in these games, and now when we see them getting a slight test, it's not gone very well.
I don't know if you were surprised, as I was, to see Isai starting. I mean, there was rumours that he could go to Valencia. Obviously, if he's starting the friendly match, he's not. And, oh my God, what a performance Isai had. I thought the first goal was his fault.
Okay, I think Vittorio's train friend is back. He's having a disaster so far. Yeah, Hisai, as soon as I saw the clip of the goal, giving the ball away for the opening goal, I thought, God, Vittorio's not going to be happy about this one. Stefan Radu, when he came on in the second half, I have to say, not much better. It seemed like every second clip of the second half was just like Genoa players running into empty space down the right wing. Casale also seemed to be at fault for at least 2 of the goals. I mean, so yeah, we can have a go at Husai, but come on, there's like a lot of individual bad performances in that defense.
I think we talk about it. I'm not convinced about Casale, and unfortunately, he's proving me right. I mean, against Genoa, I think 3 of the first 2 goals were his fault. Well, with a big help of Isai in the first one. And we have to mention that Romagnoli was like looking around, said, "What the hell is going on with you guys? Because you're playing rubbish." Maximiliano, I thought the third goal he could have done a little bit better. The first one I can understand, the ball went through the legs of Casale, I think. The second one, obviously, it was pretty impossible for him. But the third one, I thought it was outside the box, not very difficult to catch. He was very slow going down. So that's another concern. And you didn't mention Kamenovic. Probably they didn't show him in the highlights, but I thought he was dribbled past like 4 or 5 times in the second half. And it was embarrassing. I mean, I was so impressed from his performance against Verona. Seeing against Genoa was shocking. And I thought that the best defender Lazio had was Gila. I think his pronunciation is Gila instead of Gila. He was the best there and provided a couple of good saves. But yeah, I mean, that was the first test, and oh my God, it was awful, awful.
Do you think, I mean, how worried should we be about that? It is a preseason game. Weird things happen in preseason matches. And, you know, it's what happens in preseason is very rarely reflected in the main season. But the other side of this, I guess, is that have Lazio given themselves enough serious tests leading up to this opening game? Obviously, the season's starting a little bit earlier this season, but Genoa's, I mean, it's the first kind of serious test, you could say, but at the same time, it's a Serie B team anyway, so they're not actually as much of a serious test as what Lazio are going to face in Serie A. And now we've got Qatar coming up tomorrow, and then the season starts. So I don't know. What do you think? There's been enough of a challenge in preseason for this team?
I mute myself. Sorry. It's something Lazio typically do, right, Alasdair? Because even in the past with Inzaghi as well, we started the 4-3-4-5 friendly very easy, and usually we get only one tough test. And this year was pretty much the same. We have to say something. Genoa season is starting like in the next 2 days. I think the next weekend they have the Coppa Italia match. So they were, I would say, physically in a better shape than Lazio. And obviously this is a huge difference. I don't know. I would have preferred to have different tests. And I think they have time because the season starts the 14th of August. I think they have still next week to arrange a better friendly match, right? The other thing that surprised me, Alasdair, and we have to mention, there's the Valladolid match left next week, if I'm not right. So that's the biggest test. I want to mention 2 things, Alasdair. The first one is what I want to. The first one was I was surprised to see the starting 11 because we mentioned Isai, but even Cataldi shouldn't be a starter. Basic, he's going to be a starter. I'm convinced about that. So for the first time, I think a lot the team. And the other thing is, yes, Lazio lost against Genoa, but Roma lost against Ascoli. What was it? Milan and Inter lost against other team. It looks like the Italian teams in this moment are struggling a little bit to get in this friendly match. So it's going to be a weird season. There's going to be a huge break in the middle. So I don't know. Maybe the summer training it's completely different compared to the years before. So maybe that's a thing to discuss, right?
Possibly, yeah. I think it's it was so at odds with the general feeling and the kind of positivity around the club. I think that's why people have been hit quite hard by this, is because there was generally, with all the signings coming in, the fact that they were getting them in before Alonso, and we've had a couple of weeks of training there, and now getting into these matches, it felt like things were coming together rather than falling apart, and that result was kind of a shock to the system. it could be a good thing, though. You know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that Lazio.
Yeah,
you'd rather have the shock to the system now in pre-season than at home to Bologna on the first day. So by the signs of it, you know, Sarri was furious, Ciro was furious, and it has kind of elicited a big reaction from the players and the staff. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it wakes them up a bit, or gives them an opportunity to kind of address the issues that there are.
Alasdair, going to the questions, Alan is asking, are there any interesting homegrown academy players coming through? I don't know if you are talking, Alan, about players now in the first team or playing in the Primavera, but we have to mention Marco Bertini, Alasdair, because he's been playing in these last friendly matches. Akpa Pro is not in the squad. We have to talk about this because both Acerbi and Akpa Pro hasn't been called to the second part of the summer training in Germany. So this is a big news. But Marco Bertini has been called. He's coming from the Primavera, and he played both against Genoa, the last, 25, 30 minutes instead of Quinio that started in the second half, and in the friendly match before, was it against Triestina? Oh, no, the Slovenian team as well. He scored even. So yeah, he's definitely interesting. He can play in all three positions. He played in all three positions in the Lazio Primavera. So he can play playmaker. He can play in the two central midfielder. I don't know if he's ready or to play with the first squad.
Oh dear, we've lost Vittorio again. Apologies for this. If anyone can still hear me, then tell me. But I think I'll take over from there. The thing that I find interesting about that is that, I guess in recent years, the thing that Lazio have struggled to do is bring through, well, there's not been a load of youth players coming through, if we're honest anyway, but then on top of that, central midfielders, beyond what we've had, I guess, Danilo Cataldi and Alessandro Murgia, but it would be a nice position to see some extra depth coming through. I'm just laughing a little bit because I'm seeing Vittorio's face appearing and disappearing, so I don't know, he's having some holiday issues here. Holiday Wi-Fi. Can you hear me? Are you back?
Oh, yeah. I was able to hear. Usually the internet connection worked fine here, but probably I talked too much about Lazio, or the performance against Genoa had a shock for my Wi-Fi connection. You were mentioning Murgia and Cataldi. Murgia, I couldn't expect him going that bad. Lazio sold him to Spal. Then Spal gave him to Perugia, where he hardly played. Didn't see that coming, honestly, Alasdair. I thought he had talent. While Cataldi against Genoa, he really struggled, especially when we had to defend. I don't know if he can play in that position with Sarri. And talking about that, the arrival of Vecino that should be announced, he should do the medicals this weekend. Do you think he's going to be the vice Marcos Antonio?
Yeah, so I think it's a really good signing, first of all. Free transfer as well, and by the signs of it, the salary he's going to be on isn't exactly putting him at, right at the top of the high earners, saying kind of 1.82 million. I think that's a really good deal for a player with his experience. If he's there on a 3-year deal, yeah, perhaps he's getting a bit leggy by the end of that, but I think he's still going to have a lot to offer in the next couple of seasons. And hopefully he's a guy who can fit straight in into this team. I don't know if I'd be surprised if the plan is for him to come in and be a Marcos Antonio alternative. I think it's more, we kind of touched on this last time, but I think it's more something he can do rather than what's his greatest strength in that position. But certainly adds real strength and depth to a position where we've kind of lacked that a little bit, certainly last season.
Yeah, I mean, he's a sort of jolly, right? Someone that can play in all the positions there in midfield. So that's definitely something interesting, Alasdair. Vlidas is asking, Vlidan is asking our rating on the Mercato so far. I think we said this already, right? Probably the best Mercato in the Lotito era, I think, Alasdair. Good signing, a lot of signing. And we're thinking also about the bench, because I think Vecino is not going to be starting for Lazio. Cancellieri is a very interesting player. And Luca Romero as well. He's a talented young player. Gila, probably, I don't know if he's going to start, or him or Casale could be bench players coming in. So I think 7.5 out of 10. What do you rate Lazio summer transfer at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's still a way to go. It's because the season's about to start. It feels like we're kind of coming to the end of this market somehow, but we're not. We've got another month to go, and I think so far really good. If we manage to get Provedel, Vecino, and Avice Immobile on top of that, I mean, it would be really outstanding. There was another question we had from Alexander Mikkelsen talking about the kind of bench players. I always talk about our bench players as the reason we don't achieve top four. We simply don't have good enough players apart from the usual 14, 15 starters. Have we invested properly this Mercato concerning that issue? And I think that's one of the main reasons why I think it has been a great Mercato, because I think that the squad's looking so much stronger in that regard now. I think you want to be going into a season with at least kind of 2 starting 11s you can pick and be pretty happy with all the positions and how they're covered. And I think Lazio are looking pretty strong in that regard now. So certainly better off than last season. And even then, Sarri managed to get 5th place and get that team playing some nice football by the end of the year. So yeah, like 8 out of 10, I would say, for me at the moment. And if we get a couple more in, then can go even further up from there.
Don't you think we are missing Avice Immobile? Because I like a lot Cancellieri, but I don't think he's ready there to take that position. Today there was rumors about Belotti. I don't trust them. I cannot see Belotti coming to Lazio and be the Avice Immobile. But I think that, yeah, if we want to be the biggest thing missing now, it's the Avice Immobile. And, you know, seeing how Isai played against Genoa, I think we will be better to sell Isai and find a better replacement. But I know I'm asking a lot. We were really scared. Let's not forget what we were thinking in May, with Lazio losing a lot of players. We lost Tracoscia, Luis Felipe, and so on. We were concerned that Lazio wouldn't be able to replace them. I think overall, Lazio did a good job. We replaced those players. We still have to find a solution for the Acerbi situation. That is not going to be easy. But overall, I think, yeah, we improve our bench, definitely. Gila, one out of Patrick and Casale. Marcos Antonio is going to start, but we have Basic, Vecino, and I think our bench is improved. And if we get Provedel, I think even in the goalie we have insurance that if Maximiliano doesn't work out well, then we have a very good goalkeeper coming in. So I think the work is outstanding compared to a usually Lazio summer transfer. But on the other side, the other Italian team did a good job. Do you think the other team have improved? I mean, Napoli lost a couple of very good players. Have they signed good players? I don't know. I'm not convinced about that. Roma is doing a good transfer market. Inter started really well, but it's not going very well now. Milan finally looked to get De Catelere, or how the hell you pronounce him. So that's good. Should be a good signing. So where do you put Lazio at the moment, Alasdair?
I mean, I don't know how you pronounce it either, but that was the most Italian pronunciation of that name that you could imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating. It's a really, really interesting season coming up because of that. I think it was quite hard to call this time last year as well, with so many new coaches coming in and like new eras starting. Whereas this time we've got Spalletti, Mourinho, Sarri all kind of bedded in at their clubs. Allegri as well at Juve. Juve obviously have had a pretty good market, kind of strengthening the spine of that team with Bremer, Pogba, although he's injured, Di Maria. So yeah, I think Napoli's the one that I think people are kind of looking at and thinking, are they going to drop off because they've lost so much kind of on top of the quality of losing Koulibaly and Mertens and Insigne, the experience and leadership that those guys have been the absolute backbone of that club for years and years now. So losing all three of them in the same market is going to surely have some sort of effect on the dressing room as well. So yeah, I think that it's going to be really competitive, and Lazio have as good a chance as everyone else in my mind to actually put up a fight for that top four. I think they've got the squad to do it. Well, certainly not if Fried Chicken gets his desire here. He's saying I can do a job off the left. Yeah, you've not seen me play on the wing. It's not a good idea. Yeah, so I think it's shaping up to be a good season. I think the question is kind of like how if you're bringing in so many players at once, how quickly they can adapt to Sarri's system again, and he managed to do it last season with a team that wasn't really adapted, but it did take a while. So I think what we're all looking for and hoping for this season is that Lazio can actually kind of start a bit stronger than last time.
I have a couple of questions for you. The first one is Luis Alberto. Don't go away. We still have 10 minutes at least.
Position,
Luis Alberto didn't convince me against Genoa. He played poorly. Do you think he's not fit for Sarri ball, or do you think his head is somewhere else? Rumors are that now Sevilla has the money to sign him and he's happy to leave. So do you think that's one of the reasons why Luis Alberto is not playing well? And the second one is, usually it's completely the opposite. Lazio sign experienced player, very old players. Now this year Lazio have been signing youngster. Casale, well, he's not very young, but younger than usually Lazio player. Gila, Cancellieri, Marcos Antonio, and Juve signing Pogba. Juve signing Di Maria. Roma is signing Dybala, Matic. What's going on? Lazio is rejuvenating, and the other top team are signing experienced players. Does this surprise you?
Not too much, because Lazio were in more need of doing that than any other team, really. I think there's quite a good contingent of talented young players in that Roma squad. Inter perhaps could do with it, but they're kind of coming from a different place. That's a team that was a champion team not so long ago. So adding experience isn't necessarily the worst idea. But yeah, I mean, I think Lazio were in need of that, of freshening up. On the Alberto question, I swear we've been here before. I think the pre-season is a time when Alberto seems to wind up Lazio fans. And I can't remember if it was last summer or the one before. There was even he put up a video of himself training at home or something on Instagram, and he was. Some people started saying he was wearing Sevilla shorts, but he was actually wearing.
No, that was a couple of years ago.
Oh, God. I mean, there's always this kind of nonsense, I think. And we've talked before about Alberto's kind of, the way the things he says and the way he behaves sometimes isn't great. But I don't know. We did get asked earlier, Oliver Phil was who said, do we prefer Alberto or even Ilic? I think at this point you have to say Alberto, because of what he's done for Lazio over the last few years. And I think we give him the benefit of the doubt. Wait for the season to start, wait to see how he's performing, and then make our judgments from there. Ilic is a really, exciting player. I think if he ended up at Lazio, I'd be very happy with it. But Alberto has delivered year after year for Lazio, so I think we need to stick by him.
Yeah, again, Alasdair, it's a very young player, so that's an interesting point. You lose the magic of Luis Alberto if he leaves, and you get more a dynamic player with Ilic and a very young player. He's 21, if I'm not wrong, and while Luis Alberto is turning 30. So that's all consideration that you have to make. Plus, you have to see. I mean, I'm not convinced Verona is going to give him cheaply. I mean, the rumors were Verona would ask 30 million euros for that. So And this leads me to the other question. I think Patrick Bowman was asking us, where do all the money suddenly come from for our Mercato signing this early in the season? Yeah, do you think we are planning to sell someone to be back of all the spending we made this summer?
I think it always is going to come back down to the offers. I don't think the spending Lazio have already made has been on the basis of then making it back by a sale, because I don't feel like that's the way that Lotito's going to operate. I feel like if he's going to do that, he's going to make the sale first and then make the signings. You know, there's Binance money, there's Mizuno money, there's Korea money. I'm probably forgetting about lots of things, but there is money kicking around for Lazio to spend. I don't think it's always been the case over the years that the reason Lotito's not spending money is because there is no money. It's just that Lazio aren't a big spending club. But yeah, I mean, none of these signings have been big money signings, really, in the grand scheme of things. The grand total is adding up. I do think if there's a big bid still for Sergei, they'll take it. I do think if there's a suitable bid for Alberto, they'll take it. But I just hope they're not relying on that. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, we never mentioned, but the money of Vavro, still 4.5 million euros plus his salary. Vedat Murici left us as well. Again, at the 9 million euros plus, I think it was 2 million euros his salary. Lazio didn't make any huge signing. Plus,
Andy's gone again. Right. Okay. Well, I hope I can take over until we hear Vittorio's dulcet tones return to us. What else have we got? There's a few more questions we've had. One of them was actually about
these young players make our salary budget decrease.
Vittorio, do we have
I don't know. Yeah, my internet is good. I don't know. Maybe it's the problem of the software now. But yeah, I was saying it's saving a lot of money from the salary of Lucas Leiva, Vavro, Murici. Even Johnny was around more than 1 million euro. So I think the saving we made there, the saving we made with the new salary of this youngster, because Cancellieri is not getting a lot of money. Even Marcos Antonio is around 1 million euro of salary. So, you know, if you think that Leiva was 3.5, that decreased spending in salary. So I think one of the reasons is that. So yeah, and we at the moment we didn't spend that much cash like other clubs. So I think that's one of the reasons. Plus, I mean, if you sign Sarri, Alasdair, you need to get him the right players, right? You need to get him good players for his football. So I think that makes sense, you know, spending a little bit more compared to the past with a manager like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been good to see that happen. I think it feels like there's more of a, I don't know if the relationship's better with Tare and Inzaghi, or whether it's simply a case of Sarri being more in control and like laying down the law about what he wants and what he needs. I imagine Sarri will be able to be quite assertive about that in the transfer market, because he's coming from a different place. You know, he's been brought in as a massively successful coach, who's, you know, been a revolutionary coach in Italy in the last 10 years. Whereas Inzaghi was starting from a very different place of kind of being under, you know, being the kind of young guy who's rising through the ranks and so on. So, yeah, I think that, yeah, they needed to invest in Sarri for this to make sense, this change of coach, this change of direction. So it's good to see that they have. One of the things I was about to bring up before I lost you there last time was the suggestion from Dave C that we bring Caicedo back to be our Vice Mobile.
I'm not convinced. I love Caicedo, but I think he's done as a player. The fact that no one signed him, right? How often has been injured in the last 2 years or so. I think he hardly played with Inter when he came there. So yeah, I would love to to have him back, but I don't think we will get the old Felipe Caicedo. So, yeah, I prefer Cancellieri at that point, or someone younger, right?
And what about Belotti then? Are you just? I mean, we've had quite a few different people ask us about this, and one of the questions from Hamza Al Mahoud was how realistic it is, and is he a good fit? Do you just think it's unrealistic that Lazio would kind of pay the wages to get him in, or do you think it's unrealistic that he would want to come?
I don't think he would like to come. I mean, he's coming to be the Vice Immobile. Don't think he's gonna play a lot, so don't think it's the right solution for us, honestly.
I mean, it would be a hell of a signing. He's good age, incredible Serie A experience, available on a free transfer. I think it would leave Sarri in quite a difficult position because neither him nor Ciro are players who really can play in any other position in a 4-3-3 apart from being the central striker. So it would be real competition for places if that happened. But the thing is, there's seemingly not many other offers on the table for him at the moment.
Well, there's rumors that he can go to Roma. But again, would you go to Roma and be the Vice Abraham again? I think he wants a starting job, right? So I don't know. I mean, this could be a little bit, in a small way, the Dybala story, right? Dybala was hoping to go to Inter.
Let's see if he comes back this time or if he's just to log off and leave us. Yeah, okay, I'll take over. We got asked
to a bigger club. Nobody show up. Or
are you back?
I think so, but I don't know what's going on with the internet connection. It's good, so I really don't know. But I was saying a little bit like Dybala, right? He was hoping to go to Inter, Real Madrid, and things like that, and then he ended in Roma. So maybe Belotti expecting, I don't know, Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, and no one show up. So maybe he would be forced to accept a lower team or maybe compete for a starting job in a team like Lazio or Roma. Don't know. Does it make sense to you?
Well, I think that probably how I see this going is that if Lazio are seriously considering Belotti and they've got the money to make it happen and so on, I think they're probably going to be happy to wait it out a bit, because they might kind of find it difficult to convince Belotti right now to come in and be a backup to Ciro. But at the same time, they're really good friends, him and Ciro, so he might like the idea of kind of competing with his best mate. And if Lazio are kind of happy to say, for now, Cancellieri is our Vice Immobile, which obviously we have our own doubts about, but if they're happy to say that and then wait until later in the market and Belotti's not getting the offers he wants, and then say, look, we're willing to pay you this much money, you can come be part of a really competitive squad, what do you think? He might go for it. He might go for it. And that would be an incredible choice to have between Belotti and Immobile. Belotti is one of the only players really who can even try and compete with Immobile's kind of rate of return in the last kind of 5 or 6 years in Serie A. And I think he would be a fantastic player to be able to kind of rotate in and out Europa League matches and bring off the bench in games when you need a goal. I think it would be amazing, but yeah, at the moment it does seem unlikely to me.
Yeah, but again, as we were saying, I mean, if he goes to Roma, he will be pretty much in the same situation, with the only difference that Abraham is younger than Ciro. So, you can say to Lazio, we saw Ciro missing some matches this season. He could miss some matches the upcoming season. So Belotti knows that he will play a little bit more. Going to Roma could be a little bit different. I don't know. I would be super happy if Belotti comes. I'm being realistic. I mean, we are not able to sign Mertens, so why would you get for? Why would you believe Belotti would do it? Again, Lazio would be a step forward compared to Torino. No offense to Torino fans, and he would be finally fighting for a Champions League position. So maybe that's what he's pushing. And the rumors are even Ciro is pushing Belotti to come to Lazio. So, but again, would you go to play in the same team with Ciro? Don't know. Ciro is someone who wouldn't miss a single match if he's up to him. But you know, it's true even that if you play for Sarri, you know that you're gonna have a lot of chances, score a lot of goals. So maybe that's what is pushing him. But yeah, I don't till I don't see him at Formello with the Lazio shirt. I don't believe it.
It just reminded me of the Genoa game. The one positive thing which we didn't mention was his goal, which was just hilarious. Ciro is even able to score goals after he's fallen over. It's quite impressive, to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. A player fall over and then as they're sliding along, kind of stick out a foot to score. But yeah, obviously he can do it.
And it was funny because in one replay, you could see the referee that was ready to blow the whistle and give penalty, and then Ciro scores. So he said, okay, well. But yeah, even the assist of Sergei was astonishing. Really, I don't know how he made it, but yeah. That was probably the best thing of the first. Well, no, without probably. That was the best thing of the first half. Probably the only thing positive of the first half of Lazio. Milinkovic and Ciro. So yeah, I mean, I would be happy. I would prefer Belotti than Mertens, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
don't know if it's going to happen, honestly.
Yeah, we'll see. I think our questions are pretty much out. We did get one demand for us to talk about Dybala as a statement signing for Roma, and if Lazio needs something like that. I mean, for me, not really. I mean, I don't think you need the big name to have a successful transfer window. I think it's obviously something that gets fans very very activated and excited, and you've seen that with Dybala, you know, the enormous kind of procession when he's being signed, and this stuff about them selling more shirts than ever, even though I'm not sure anyone actually has any data about that. But yeah, it's so
Can we say that's
something
absolutely fake?
Sorry?
Can we say that that's absolutely fake? I mean, the article comes from Corriere dello Sport, from a journalist who is working for a Roma radio and doesn't put numbers. I mean, you cannot say this is record sales and you don't put a number. I mean, it's not even written how many shirts they sold, but it's record. Yeah, obviously. I mean, that's an annoying Roma press journalism. That it's awful. It's simply embarrassing. But yeah, go on with the Dybala thing. Sorry to interrupt you.
No. But I mean, that's absolutely fine. But I mean, it's but like whether that's true or not, it goes to show that there is like a huge excitement in that fan base, regardless, because they've signed such a big name player, and you know you've got say Lukaku at Inter, Pogba at Juve, slightly different because it's kind of returning to the club, so it's not the same thing, But yeah, I mean, I think that it's more encouraging to me that Lazio have made a lot of promising signings of a young age who are there to do a particular job in Sarri's system. That's far more encouraging to me than if Lazio had, I don't know, spent 30 million on bringing in a massive name, because it's not what's needed at this club anyway.
I think this is why we're having internet connection, because I totally agree with you on this one. I mean, I'm more happy to have Cancellieri, Marcos Antonio, and so on, that are youngster and have plenty of room to improve, than sign a Dybala player that could be astonishing this season, but injury-prone, 29 years old, question mark, because why other team didn't sign him, etc. I'm not saying it's going to be a failure, but from Lazio point of view, it's much better getting Cancellieri, keeping Raul, Luca Romero, and so on, than go and sign a big name that it's turning 30. So, Plus, I don't think it's possible for Lazio. I mean, we've been talking about Belotti before. That is going to be very difficult to sign. So I prefer it this way. Maybe Roma is going to have a better season this season, but who knows what's going to happen in 2 years' time, right? So, yeah, I prefer it this way, to be honest with you.
Well, I think that sometimes as well, it's the attraction for clubs, as we've seen with a lot of the rumours about Cristiano Ronaldo, because a lot of teams are obviously wise now to the fact that he is a difficult player to actually accommodate in your team, because he's not going to press in the way that you want, and you're going to have to kind of build your team around him to a certain extent. But then always part of these arguments and these transfer stories that you see about Ronaldo is, oh, well, what a marketing opportunity it is to sign a player like that. And whether you like it or not, that is a big part of this for clubs now as well, I imagine, is actually thinking about the commercial benefits of a huge big name signing and what that's going to do for your club. So yeah, that's something obviously Lazio aren't going to get by signing Marcos Antonio. You're not going to sell 1 million shirts and get huge eyes on your club from other fan bases around the world and so on. But it makes a lot more sense in terms of actual team building.
To wrap it up, the podcast, Lazio has done 20,000 season tickets for this year. We are the 4th because Juventus has been embarrassing. I don't know why. Tickets are very high, so Juventus fan didn't subscribe the season tickets. So we are the 4th team in Serie A, which I think is very good. So you see, sometimes you don't need to sign a super name to get fans engaged. So I think that's very positive for the club and for Lazio, right?
Yeah, fantastic. And obviously, another great revenue driver for the club as well, because having not done it for 2 years. So yeah, it's hopefully going to have a massive effect on the attendances at games in the coming season as well. I think that there's more of a buzz around the club anyway, but no doubt a big issue last season where attendances were terrible last season for most of the year, and I think not having your base of season ticket holders is a huge part of that. So having 20,000 who are basically ready to say they're going to be there every week is huge. Yeah, excited.
I agree with you, and I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks everybody for listening. Sorry for the internet issue. I don't know where they came from, but yeah. Well, Alasdair is away again next week, so I can imagine some huge signing for Lazio next week. So we're gonna come back in 2 weeks' time probably, and who knows? Maybe Belotti is gonna sign next week, as Alasdair is not gonna be available. Anyway, jokes apart, thanks everybody for listening. Again, apologize for the internet issue. And we're going to come back as soon as possible when Lazio is going to make any other announcement. And who knows, maybe Belotti is going to be the Vice Immobile or someone else. Again, thanks for your support. Remember, you can follow us on Spreaker, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you listen to our podcast. And please rate and review the podcast. Again, sorry for this internet issue, and we're going to be back as soon as possible. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers.